We return to Kiwifruit now, continuing on from our reporting last night about pickers and the difficult conditions and wages they face. Tonight, we move on to packing. The Kiwifruit industry's self-described crisis has halved from 1,200 workers to now a shortage of about 600. But that's thanks largely to help from the media and MSD. The industry has few ideas on how to remedy the situation because it's dependent on foreigners, mainly backpackers. And after blaming, and I quote, welfare dependency for this crisis just a fortnight ago, Kiwifruit packing company Apata now admits actually its jobs are, and I quote, shit work. They're almost all paid the minimum wage. There's no work if it rains and no work for most of the year. Zach Fleming and our cameraman Nick Monroe paid a visit to one of Apata's pack houses to take a look for themselves.
That dull, constant drone of machinery is what these Kiwifruit packers listen to for 10.5 hours a day, 8 a.m. till 7 p.m, with a half-hour break somewhere in the middle. Paid the minimum wage inside a windowless shed illuminated by fluorescent light. David Freeman, the communications manager for Kiwifruit and avocado company Apata, describes the work, in his own words, as shit work for shit pay.
David, you said that this is shit work. Can you expand on that for me?
Well, it's pretty tough work. I've done it myself before, not for very long periods. It's just tough. It's really tough work, and you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's quite repetitive.
Quite repetitive's an understatement. The monotony rivals the worst. Almost all of the workers I spoke to said they hated it. But this belies Apata's statements a fortnight ago, begging for workers. Its managing director Stuart Weston said Kiwis need to toughen up. He blamed a benefit mentality for the Bay of Plenty's Kiwifruit worker shortage.
We've got a systemic issue, multi-generational welfare dependency. This is not solved by asking a seasonal employer to throw them in a shed and work them hard and wonder why they can't handle it.
But is it can't or just don't want to? More bluntly, the dichotomy is lazy dole bludgers or avoiding doing a shit job for shit pay. I went inside an Apata Kiwifruit pack house to try and find out. Almost all of the jobs pay the minimum wage, $16.50 an hour. The forklift driver who loads crates onto conveyor belts. The separators who pick leaves and stems from the kiwifruit. The sorters who stand for hours watching tons of kiwifruit roll by, plucking out the imperfectly shaped fruit which we eat in New Zealand. We send the perfect fruit to Asia. And if there's a blemish, it goes in the bin. Hundreds of kilograms of fruit is chucked out each day, simply because we're too precious to eat slightly discoloured or disfigured fruit, despite it tasting the same. The woman who runs the sticker machine, she's on 25 cents more than the minimum wage, $16.75. The packers who pack 5,300 trays per hour, minimum wage. There is another commonality, most are foreigners, backpackers needing a cash injection. It's a very easy job to get.
Yeah, we just checked in and they were like, yeah, just come to the office and sign in, and we just came to the office, filled out some papers on the computer, and that was it, yeah.
And what, you started that day?
We started the day after that, so yeah. It was pretty
it's about as easy as you can get, right?
Yeah, it was like the easiest job we get so far, yeah.
Yuran, a 19-year-old from Germany, on his third day, says what makes it bearable is an end date.
Because I know that I'm not going to work here for the next 3 years, I want to work here for the next 2 weeks. So.
Off camera, some were as blunt as David Freeman. On camera, though, more diplomatic.
What do you think of it?
It's an experience.
Yeah?
I packed for just over 5 minutes. It felt like 20. Call me lazy, call me entitled, call me whatever you want. The simple fact is I'd rather do something else for the minimum wage. But Mr. Freeman doesn't believe money's a factor contributing to the worker shortage.
Not at all. Not at all. It's pretty simple. If we wanted to pay an extra $4 or $5 an hour and did that, we'd attract some workers very quickly, and then other pack houses would lift theirs. They'd go back to them. We would all end up with the same labour issue, and we would just be paying more for the labour.
Aren't most of the pack houses paying minimum wage though?
Yes, we are.
So if you all raised your wages, wouldn't you all attract more people and then therefore not have a labour shortage next year?
Look, it's too hard to say. I'm not a macroeconomist, so I can't say.
Since the extensive media coverage, Apata's filled all of its kiwifruit vacancies without raising wages. One of them was taken by Darcy, who's 81 years old.
I heard the plea that they were 1,200 staff short, and as I've worked here before, I thought I'd come back and help out.
What would you say to people who don't have a job at the moment, they live around here and they need one? Would you recommend this is a good thing to do?
Well, of course it is. You know, if you're not working, your quality of life is not good because you're only living on a benefit, and you certainly don't make money living on a benefit.
But clearly not many Kiwis think like Darcy, because remember, almost all of the people who work here are backpackers. It's likely we'll see a repeat of this next year. A shortage of packers will reach tourist message boards, and the jobs will be filled by transients. For Checkpoint, Zach Fleming.